Hey guys, told you yesterday I wouldn't be able to be here for third and fourth period, so what I need you to do, we're going to go through the lesson, go ahead and take out a piece of paper, and be ready for this practice problem solving problem. Okay, here's your problem, similar to the one we did yesterday. So I left an example of the one from yesterday on the back chalkboard. You can kind of use that to help you a little bit. But if the sub would please pause the video and give the students 8 minutes to complete this problem. All right, remember, read the problem first. Okay, chart below represents the amount of money that Iris earned driving a cargo van based on the number of miles that she drove, and then it gives us a chart. Now this one gives us 4 data points. Okay, I don't need them all, but it does give me 4 data points. Number 1 says write a linear equation in slope-intercept form that models the trend in her savings account. Now, again, I only need 2 of these. Okay, so I'm just going to ignore those 2, and I'm going to use these 2 points. This is going to be my x1, y1. This is going to be my x2, y2. And when I need slope-intercept form, remember y equals mx plus b, first thing I'm going to have to do is find my slope. So let's find our slope. I'm going to have 50 minus 35 over 17 minus 11. 15 minus 35 is 15. 17 minus 11 is 6. And I know we're talking about money, so I'm going to go ahead and make this a decimal. And this is going to be $2.50. Okay, so it's going to be 250. Well, there's my slope. Y equals 2.5x. Y-intercept. Unfortunately, we do not have a y-intercept right now. So it is my job to figure one out. Okay, since I have a point in a slope, I actually have 4 points in a slope, I can use one of my points, my x1, y1, I can use my slope, and I can write this in point slope form. So it'd be y minus 35 equals 2.5, parentheses x minus 11, okay, and then I need to Beyonce, okay, I need to solve this. So distribute y minus 35 equals 2.5x, so 2.5 times 11, negative 27.5, add 35 to both sides, and I am going to get 7.5 for that. So my slope-intercept form is y equals 2.5x plus 7.5. All right? And now I need to answer my other questions. Number 2, if Iris drove if Iris drove 100 miles, how much money will she earn? Well, I have to think about what are the miles, okay? What is miles? Is that my x or my y? Okay, and if I look up at my chart, I can see that that is my x. So I'm going to put 100 in for x. So 2.5 times 100 plus 7.5. Get that out of the way. Get out of here. Plus 7.5. And I'm going to go ahead and solve it. 2.5 times 100. 250 plus 7.5, add those together, and the answer for number 2 is going to be $257.50. Okay. Number 3 says Iris wants to buy a new $300 coat. How many miles must she drive in order to earn enough money for that coat? Well, what I've got to think about is money, that's my y. Okay, well, I want to figure out how many miles she's got to drive to get $300. So I'm going to put 300 in for my y in my slope-intercept form. And I'm going to solve this to figure out what x is. So minus 7.5, it's going to be 292.5 equals 2.5x. Finish him. Divided by 2.5. 292.5 divided by 2.5. Oops, I pushed the wrong button. Is 117. So she would have to drive 117 miles in order to do that. Okay, reminder, these are not going away. Okay, so we've got to start being able to get through them. All right, on your paper, just like we did yesterday, here's these 5. I want you to decide, is it dotted or solid? Okay, or do we shade on the top and bottom? So please pause the video and give the students 1 minute to complete these 5 problems. All right, number 1. This is a dotted line because it's missing the or equal to. That's a less than sign, so I would shade the bottom. Okay, I would shade down. For number 2, that is a solid line underneath there. Okay, that is an or equal to sign. So I make a solid line. It's greater than, so I shade up. Number 3, dotted, shade up. Number 4 is just an equation. That's just a solid line. We do not shade on number 4. It's an equation. Okay, we only shade on inequalities. And the last one, number 5, solid line because it has the or equal to part. It's less than, so I shade down. All right. Now, if you can get out your graph paper from yesterday, we're going to do a few problems here together. So please pause the video and make sure that everyone has their graph paper out from yesterday. All right. For this problem, okay, the first thing we have to look at when we look at our problems for today is we're going to start adding some that do not, okay, I should say that are not already set into slope-intercept form. Okay, so I need to reformat this. It says x plus 3y is greater than or equal to negative 6. So my first step is I have to solve this. Now what's really important when I go and I solve this is I have to make sure I pay attention to my inequality sign. Okay, so I'm going to minus 1x on both sides. Gives me 3y is greater than or equal to negative 1x minus 6. Finish him. Divide everything by 3. Now, I'm dividing by a positive 3, so I do not need to flip my inequality sign. Be negative 1/3 x minus 2. Okay, so here is my slope-intercept form. I no longer need to worry about this. Okay? And I don't want you to be looking at the original problem there in order to determine your shading. You've got to look at it in slope-intercept form. Okay? It's got to be in slope-intercept form. Now, my slope-intercept form, that's an or equal to part, so I know I'm going to have a solid line. It's greater than, so I'm shading up. And let's go ahead and put it on the graph. Y-intercept's negative 2. Slope is negative 1/3. Be down 1, right 3. Or up 1, left 3. I said solid line, so I need to make sure I have a solid line. Make sure it covers your whole graph. And then we need to shade the top. Okay, so if you're never not sure what side is the top, draw an arrow up. Okay, this is the top part, so I'm going to shade in all of this. Okay, and all those are the solutions. Now let's look at number 2. If 2x minus y is greater than negative 2. Got to think to ourselves, is this in slope-intercept form? And this is not. So the first thing I have to do is I need to put this in slope-intercept form. Minus 2x on both sides. That's 0. Now this is a negative 1y. 2x minus 2. Finish him. Divide everything by -1. Now, I just divided everything by a negative. So I can't forget, that means I have to flip my inequality. I'm going to get y is less than positive 2x plus 2. And this is where I need to look. And this is why it's important. Notice, in my slope-intercept form, I have a less than sign. Over here, that was not less than. So if you're looking in the wrong spot, you're going to end up shading incorrectly. I need to ignore this. That's not slope-intercept form. I cannot determine where I shade until it's in slope-intercept form. Let's go ahead and graph it now. Y-intercept's 2. Slope is 2. Up 2, right 1. Or down 2, left 1. Now, I didn't do it, but I should have. What type of line do we need? This is missing the or equal to sign, so it should be dotted. That is a less than sign. I should be shading down. So when I go to draw my line, I need to make sure that I am connecting these with a dotted line. Okay? And then my shading, it's the bottom, so I'm going to draw an arrow down from my line somewhere. Okay? And that means all of this needs to get shaded in. So do one more. For this one, again, we always got to ask ourselves a question. Is that in slope-intercept form? And this is not. So the first thing I have to do is I have to put this in slope-intercept form. You know what you do? So please pause the video and give the students a minute to solve this problem. All right, let's look at it. Should have went minus 2x. Drop it like it's hot. And finish it. Divide everything by -5. Remember, I just divided everything by a negative, so I have to flip this inequality sign. It's going to be positive 2/5 x minus 1. So, y-intercept's -1. My slope is positive 2/5 up 2, right 5, down 2, left 5. Now, this is missing the or equal to part, so that is a dotted line. That is a greater than sign, so I am going up. Remember, I'm looking here. My slope-intercept form, not here. That's going to mess you up. Okay, so dotted line. Shaded up. All of this gets shaded. These were all my solutions are. Now, there are a couple special ones that we want to make sure that we talk about.